Hello, bookish people. This is book 4 in the Accidental Medium series. This is The Hidden Dead by Tracy Whitwell. Tanz, along with her friend and mentor Sheila, are out celebrating a ghost-busting job that went well when mysterious and magnetic Einar approaches their table and gives Tanz his number. After a steamy date, he offers her a place to stay in his native Iceland, where she can have a writing retreat. But when she takes him up on his offer, all is not what it seems. Expecting some romantic time alone with Einar, she winds up snowed in by herself in the cabin with the voices of the dead calling for her help once again. I really enjoy this series. This is the 4th book, and I hope that there are more. Tracy Whitwell is an actress turned writer, and some of these books have taken place in the film and theatre world, which is really fun. The cover art of this series is also really stylized, kind of delightful, often with little new age elements on the cover and a hand holding a glass of wine, because Tanz likes a glass of wine. Our main character is the narrator of the stories. She's an actress who found she had some psychic abilities in the first book, and since then has been developing them, helping to resolve things for the dead and solve their cold cases. She has the help of her mentor Sheila, who knows about how the world of being a psychic works. And she also has Frank, a friend who has crossed over to the other side and is a sort of guide to her from there. By this, the 4th book, she's finding her feet as a psychic and moving away from the acting world a little bit more. I was thinking as I read this book about how much I like spending time with Tanz. She's kind, she makes friends instantly, and she's got a positive outlook. She doesn't judge. She's the kind of woman who lifts other women up. She's adventurous and she likes a glass of wine. She feels like someone who you'd really like if you met her in real life, who would always have some funny story about something they've been up to lately. This time around, I felt like the story showed us a woman learning to embrace who she is and stepping into her own power a little bit more. Initially, Tanz is really swept off her feet by Einar, and it's put in such a way that it seems like she's not really seeing him, as though he has a sort of charismatic glamour around him. It felt a little different to the romance in other books in this series, because although Tanz is a romantic and adventurous, this was like her coming up against something a little bit more like obsessive, more seductive than romantic. It's out of balance, and I like the way that it's written that Tanz can't see it, but the clues are there that let us know. Throughout the book, there's a bit more of a steamy vibe than usual, which is fun. The outcome of this theme in the story, without giving anything away, is that Tanz learns something about herself and grows. And it also feels like she's owning her powers a little bit more, embracing the weird sort of things that are coming into her life, and sort of knowing who she is and her value, which is really cool. Our main character lives in London, but each book has been informed by the place it's set. The previous book around a famous cemetery in London, for example, and the unresting inhabitants there. So this time the book is set in Iceland, and the author does a great job of creating atmosphere and color, from the cold snow, the lonely trees, the isolation of the cabin, to local foods and museums. It's a great location for one of these books, and it's used really well to inform not just the feel of the story and the atmosphere, but also what happens. I think that's really integrated really well and kind of helps, all kind of woven in. I like the mystery in this story a lot. I think it comes together really well. It's very intriguing as it's unfolding, and it felt realistic in the sense that it felt psychologically realistic. Maybe not realistic in the sense of the supernatural, but that's fine. If you liked the previous books, you'll like this one. If you're looking for a supernatural rom-com mystery series, or you like witchy kind of reads, definitely check out this series. I think in this book there were a few recurring characters and plot points that meant that you'll probably enjoy it more, and it will make more sense to you if you read the others first, especially as this book feels like things building on other things. Tanz is drawn into taking a reckless step by Einar, and that feels a little bit out of character at first. So knowing her usual character makes this and her growth from this and just the way she's drawn into the situation more impactful, because you kind of know that it is out of character and that kind of thing. And also things that she's able to do and connect with here are an escalation on previous experiences with her sort of powers that she has, but they might seem kind of intensely woo-woo if you start here. I find these books a really welcome escapism read. They have this really fun, friendly tone in general, and they have a good story. And I like that while they're not afraid to approach some heavy themes or ideas, and I mean, obviously we're talking about sort of things like, death, mysteries, that kind of thing. They're really not heavy reading. I felt really happy after reading this book. When I turned the last page, I was like, oh man, I feel really good after reading that, And sometimes that's just what you want. So if you're a fan of this series, I think you'll like this latest book. She has another great mystery to solve here, and this time things are a little bit more steamy, so that's kind of fun. It's not overly so, I think, compared to a lot of books that are out there now. Sort of mainstream books can be very, very steamy, and that's fine too. But this one's just a little bit more that way than some of the previous books, I'd say. So don't be put off if you're not really into that stuff. I think this book is not going to shock you or anything. But I do think I found reading this one that I was thinking, if I hadn't read the previous 3 books, I might not know who some of these people are, or I might not kind of see what's happening as much. So keep that in mind if you're considering reading it. Have you read any of the books in this series? Do you sometimes have a book series that just makes you feel happy, a little bit lighter? Or it doesn't have to be a series. If you have like a book like that and you feel comfortable sharing it with me, I would love to hear in the comments, because I just love books like that. I think sometimes that's a wonderful thing about reading is it doesn't always have to be, educational and an edifying experience. Sometimes it can be so helpful during difficult times, or not even difficult times, just in life, to have a book that you can sink into that kind of restores your spirit a little bit. And for me, I think the tone of these books and just the sort of gentle humor of them kind of does that for me. So yeah, let me know in the comments if you would like to. And thank you for watching. It's always nice hanging out with you guys on my channel. I appreciate all of you, and I will be back again next week with another book to share with you guys. What could it be? It's a mystery.